Hi everyone. Now, as you can see, I've got here in front of me one of the items given to me by Leo Kim Video, who's got some really cool videos about trains and transformers and knockoffs and everything, and you'll see his link appear on the screen now. One of the things that he's given me as part of the fan prize for 2013. And as you can see, this is a bit different, and it's the reason I'm going to actually do a review on it. I don't usually do Transformer reviews because there are a lot of Transformer reviews out there, and most of them I find are really, really good. So leave that to the professionals. But this one I've seen does not seem to have a lot of coverage because I don't think it was released mainstream in the United States of America. And that would be because it's a Takara Tomy release as opposed to just a plain old Hasbro release. And so we can have a look at this, and the main question you want to be thinking about the whole time, if you're a Transformers fan, or especially if you're not a Transformers fan, is a set like this worth the price that was A, originally being charged by Myer Australia, and then B, that it actually got charged for when it was sold. And so if you've watched the other video about this that Leo did, you'll know how much it cost. But right now I want you to put a picture in your mind. How much do you think a set like this should cost? And as we go through the video, hopefully by the end, you'll have some idea about whether or not you think this is a valid set to buy or not. Or even if it's just a worthwhile toy. And so, enough of me blabbing along and giving some rambling explanation. Alright, so I've transformed these guys, got them out of the box, and transformed them into their vehicle modes, because I kind of like starting with that in a review. And you can see that there are quite a few things in this which are really awesome, and then there's just a main thing which is, in this mode at least anyway, a giant mess. So we'll start off with what's awesome. Now, these two guys are Micron figures. Judging by my really quick research that I looked up on the Transformers wiki, these were a series of normal Earth weapons that were converted by Energon to become little alive robots as well, and were included in the Japanese releases of Transformers Prime toys, as opposed to the Hasbro, which is US, UK, Canada, Australia, all the other countries. And so that means that these are a new thing exclusive to this set, hence why he doesn't have any of the other weapons that we've seen. And as a figure, as I said, I've got him in his robot mode at the moment. He's quite cool. He's only got arm articulation, no other articulation except for the legs as one kind of big piece together. But in terms of a nice little figure, he's got a quite, cute kind of aura about him. Although I think he looks much better as a gun. So as you can see, we can quickly transform this guy into his gun mode. It's quite easy. We just flip these pieces into place. Not a lot actually stays in place. It just kind of sits there a lot of the time. It's kind of clips in and these legs come up, and then there you go. That's him in gun mode, and I have to say I think that's a very impressive looking gun. It's a bit messy from some angles, which you'll see when he's in robot mode. But I think most of the time it's quite an impressive looking gun. It's just another little play feature that kids will enjoy. This is, so that was OP. Don't know what that's meant to stand for. This is Bogu, apparently. This is it in beast mode. I don't know which way is meant to be the front and which way is meant to be the back. But it's meant to be a thing. I feel like this is meant to be an eye, maybe, but I'm not sure. This one is less impressive. It's only one color, as you can see. It doesn't have any of the silver paint apps or silvery blue paint apps on there. And this one is just, it's pretty bizarre, to be honest, although the whole Unicron in this mode is bizarre. To transform him, you just flip the legs in, and then he's transformed, because he actually forms a claw arm for Unicron, as opposed to actually being a weapon. So you can see he doesn't look that impressive by himself, but as part of the Unicron, he actually does look quite good. This is a really, really nice Prime. It's a lot better than I was expecting. It's a bit of a fiddly transformation, just to get everything to line up at the front there, but it's definitely worth it. You can see that it's got this really nice kind of shiny metallic red, and this faintly shiny metallic blue, both of which are appearing a lot brighter on the tape than they are in real life. But they are really nice, and it just makes it look really premium. Like, this is definitely a premium paint job and a premium model. So right now, I want you guys to start thinking, well, a normal priced Voyager in the US, I'm pretty sure is about $25 US, or about $50 here. And this is a Voyager model right here. So this is actually two Voyager models combined as one. So normally this would retail at $50 alone. But let's think about now, this has got a premium paint job on it, and it comes with this exclusive weapon. So I want you to start thinking about how much you think this would be if it was sold just as this pack here, ignoring our villain over there. Because this definitely feels like a really nice figure, and definitely looks more than just your standard Transformers figure. So this is a really nice vehicle mode. I like the fact that he's got the painted silver on the wheels, and that he's got this nice silver paint going all the way around. Disappointing that his smokestacks are actually grey, whereas everything else, bar this bit and this bit, are silver painted. But because the grey is a nice dark grey, it doesn't actually look too bad in the mode of the truck, because it kind of blends in and you've got this really nice red and blue to take away from that. So he's definitely a very nice figure in vehicle mode. This, on the other hand, is very problematic for me. The first thing is, I don't really understand what it's meant to be for a start. Some people said it's a volcano because he's got the face there. In the TV show that I saw, which was only Transformers Armada and Energon, where that was Unicron, he was a planet. But this definitely is not a planet, or if it is, it's funky shaped. In the instructions, it tells you he's meant to go this way, like a spaceship. I don't know what this is meant to be, but frankly, it just looks stupid. And as you can see, I couldn't actually get to transform properly. I don't know whether this is just mine, or whether this is a fault with this series, because his head is meant to come forward and touch that armor panel, which is meant to come forward, but it doesn't come forward anymore, otherwise it just pops off. And for the same reason, because this can't come forward anymore, these little nubs, you can see them there, are meant to snap into here, but not only can I not get them to go in, but because this is not far enough forward, the legs don't actually reach the point where they're supposed to join on. So he's just kind of a mess of stuff in this mode, and I really, really don't like it. I can't think of anyone who would display him like this, because he just looks incredibly messy and stupid. And that could have been a possible reason that these were sitting on the shelves so long and were discounted so heavily, because I saw these at the shelves for a long time and just didn't understand what this guy was, mainly because of this. However, on the box, as noted, it actually does not show the vehicle mode of this guy anywhere on the box. It shows Optimus transforming from robot into vehicle, but this guy is shown in armor form, which I'll show you later, and in robot form. So I'm going to transform these guys and show you the form of this guy, which looks awesome. Alright, so as you guys can see, I've got these figures both in robot mode. So now, doing it in the tradition we did before, we'll do Optimus first. Now, Optimus, I first want to say, has a really cool transformation. I was really impressed by the way that he actually comes together into a robot. And it's really different to a lot of the Transformers movie stuff that I'm used to, and the way that that all kind of flips around. So in that sense, I actually really like him. In terms of a figure, again, the paint job is really, really well done, and just lifts him beyond a standard figure. So here you can see, although you've got this kind of grey here, the chest piece is done in silver. And that blue metallicness for the chest, so the abdomen is done in silver, and the blue metallicness from the chest really lifts out his detailing. The same with that use of the silver, and then the blue in the eyes, I think really works in this figure. In terms of a figure, I really like the way he kind of comes together. Now, I haven't seen any of Transformers Prime show yet. It's on my post-HSA to watch list. But I really like the aesthetics of it. I think they're a cool blend of Transformers like animated, where the proportions are kind of a bit cartoonish, and also of the movie series, where you've got these more complex kind of transformations. And I think that the way he transforms, for example, such as the wheels going up here on the back, is really, really cool and gives him a really unique, but also very Optimus Prime look. So I think that he's a really nice figure. And with that extra paint job, so as you can see, the darker kind of blue on here and that silver shiny paint on his arms, he's really benefited by that in terms of just a normal standard figure. So I'll put, if you want to look at the standard figure for comparison, I'll put a link to a review of that in the description. But you can see now that he's got his weapon, which as you can see kind of flops around a little bit if you touch it too much. But in terms of a gun, is quite cool. I do actually quite like the way it looks. It's not quite a prime gun, so to speak, because it's not like, you know, black, which is what his guns often are, or silver if it's from the movie line. But I do like the way that it kind of extends out and goes with the theme of him, you know, being blue. So that's what this Optimus Prime looks like. And as you can see, he's a really nice figure. I think he's a good figure. He's got good articulation. I was worried about the ball joints at the hips on a figure of this size, but they're quite tight on Optimus, so it doesn't seem to be a problem. And other than that, he's got nice joints, nice range of articulation, and just a nice feel. He looks like he's doing something, and I think that's really important in action figures, which is what Transformers are. They've got to look like they've got a personality, look like they're going to do something, and this guy definitely nails that. Alright, now we move on to the second figure that came in this set. And as you can see, right off the bat, the Gaia Unicron figure looks way, way better in his robot mode. First thing to say is that it's a very impressive figure in robot mode. As you can see, if I just get him all on camera, you can see that you've got these really big horn things coming out like wings, and I think they really kind of elevate him up and make him a lot more frightening and imposing than the figure actually is. And I think that really adds to him. I think the colours here now work a lot better because you can see that gold makes a lot more sense as shoulder armour, as chest armour, as on the head, and then around the legs. If we come in closer, bring him nice and close to the camera, we can get a bit of a closer look at that face, and you can see that his face is very much evil, scheming. They're quite hard to get on camera because they're so small. As you can see there, it's glinting in the light. They did a really good job creating a very evil face, and I think it fits well within the huge horns that he's got coming up the side of his head. The articulation on this guy with his kind of play features is pretty good. I mean, he's just got ball joints in most places, and then he's got some ratchety jaws, which apparently, according to the wiki, are misassembled because you can only get this much motion out of them, unfortunately. So that's mildly disappointing because it makes posing him a little bit more difficult, but he still looks quite good with these soft rubber knee guards. Nothing in the feet there. His feet are stiff. They're not going anywhere anytime soon. His other arm is kind of bizarre, and this is something which I found is kind of interesting about this figure. In this mode is actually his combined mode with his little creature thing as a weapon. And you can see that here it forms like a little claw hand thing. And so the way that works is, to get him back to his like standard mode, you pull out this, so you pull out his hand, practically, leaving him without an arm, and then you pull out the other arm, so he's got two biceps and nothing else, which is kind of bizarre. Then the way this works is it actually splits down the middle. As you can see, there's two little bits here in the center, which I can, there you go, you can see that this is actually two separate individual pieces, and then we flip up the joint, and then reattach these into place, like so. Oh god, you can see it's going a bit everywhere. Now this is his like standard attack mode, and this is kind of bizarre because he doesn't actually have hands, and the claw things, as you can see, not only are they not gold on the inside, they're just orange plastic, they also look really funny because they're kind of really, really flat. So the only real way to do it is like that, but that doesn't really make a lot of sense. And it doesn't fold as far either with the joint. The joint stops at about there. So in terms of leaving him like this, it's not a good look for this figure. It just doesn't make sense to have it like this. You really do need to have this attached on one of the arms to give him that complete look, so that he has this other little claw hand thing as well. The biggest problem I had with this guy, apart from that weird hand thing, is the fact that the ball joints on his legs were really, really loose out of the box. And so I've actually stiffened them up using a really simple trick. As you can see, you can probably see if I get on camera. There you go. I pulled off the leg, put a bit of paper towel in there, clipped it back on, and then ripped all the visible paper towel out of that joint. You can see some of it now, but it's only because I'm looking at it. And that tightens up the joint without having to fiddle around with super glue or nail polish or anything like that, which I just didn't want to do in case I did it wrong, because I'm really retarded. So as you can see, this guy is a little bit more of a mixed bag than Optimus, but overall, when he's in robot mode, he's definitely worth picking up. Now it's time to get to the cool part, which is the combiner mode. Alright guys, so here you can see the combined mode of Optimus Prime with the Gaia armor. Yeah. I don't really know what to say about this, except that it's bizarre. What actually happens in the building of this is you actually pull off the Unicron's head, you can see it just sitting there, and then rebuild his legs to make this support thing, and then shove the head back on the front. This, to me, doesn't work. I don't really understand what it looks like. This image, which is on the front of the box, is the reason I didn't actually go and purchase this myself, because I was like, what is this thing? It's so bizarre and so weird looking. as you can see, if I just give it a rotate around, you can just kind of get an idea about like what a mess it really is. Like that's the body of the Unicron there, kind of just sitting everywhere. It doesn't really sit flush with anything. It's just kind of this big mangled mess of gold and purple. So I don't really think that this combined mode is something that you would ever buy this set for. I really can't say much good about it. Articulation has practically vanished. His arms are quite... They do move. You can't really move the shoulders because they're stuck underneath his armor, but you can move his elbows a little bit and up and down, but that's about it. And you can move his legs. These act as supporting legs, so you can do stuff with his legs, but you can't pose him, because as you can see, I've lifted his legs off the ground and he still stands up. The only thing that I like about this is that it can combine with the Megatron from this series, from the Transformers Prime series, so you do have some like cross compatibility, especially since this is a Decepticon figure. It would make more sense to me to have it combining with Megatron, who's a Decepticon, as opposed to Optimus Prime. But in terms of a coherent, logical combined mode, this really, really doesn't do it for me. Unfortunately, this is just a mess, and I'll be taking this apart as soon as I finish the video and putting Prime back to the way he looks normally, because I think it's a lot more cohesive and just a much cooler figure. So then I guess you have to really ask, do I think this set is a worthwhile purchase? Do I think that this set is something that I'm glad to have in my collection? Now, the answer is straight away yes, because individually, I think the two figures are quite strong. I think for the metallic version of Transformers Prime alone, this set is worth picking up if you're a Transformers collector. And I think in robot mode, Unicron with the gold paint actually looks very, very good, even if his playability is somewhat limited by the way he's constructed. But then, when you take into consideration that this was being sold at Myer in Australia when it first came out for $100, which is standard retail price for two Voyager figures, which is what these are, the Voyager size figures, which are $50 each in Australia, that's actually a very normal price. That's a fair price, which is unusual because Myer tends to be a higher end retailer, and for exclusive sets like this, as this is a Tomy set, not a Hasbro set, so it's Japanese exclusive, they usually are more expensive in Australia when they're sold through Myer because they're the exclusive distributors. And so for that price of $99, this set is definitely worth it. But Leo Kim Video gave me this set, as you know, as part of the giveaway for Top Parent 2013, and he got this set for $55, which is awesome because you're practically getting one of the figures free. So I think that's a bonus. But then it gets better. I saw this set through the Transformers Australia forums going for $33. On clearance. $33. That is the price of a deluxe figure. That is $3 more than I paid for this Age of Extinction figure right here. So you pay $30 for this, and $33 for this. $30 for this, $33 for this. Now, obviously that deal only lasted a very few amount of days. I was considering picking up another set of this, but by the time I had actually read the thread on the forum, because I'd been away for the weekend, the special was gone. But as you can see, this guy was just not well liked, apparently, by people at Myer. And I think it's because they advertised it with this on the box. And this is a very unattractive piece, even though the two pieces separately look really nice and are really, really cool figures to have in anyone's Transformer collection. So overall, I think this set is actually great value for money, even though it doesn't quite hit the mark in terms of the Unicron and the armor. I think for a collector, this set is definitely something that people want to pick up if they're into Prime, and especially this rendition of Prime I actually really like, which I wasn't expecting to. But let me know what you think. Did you see this in your stores, whether you're in America or in the UK or somewhere in Asia, and how much was it? And do you think that it's worth its original price of $100, or do you think the price of $50 and $30 make a lot more sense? Remembering that toy prices in Australia are, especially for Transformers, usually 100% extra, i.e. 200% of the American retail price. So normally these figures would be $25-ish in America, $20, $25 each, whereas in Australia they're, as I said, $45, $50 each. But anyway, so make sure you let me know what you think about this set, whether you think it's worth the price, whether you saw it in the shops near you, whether or not you would actually pick it up, and then whether you think that maybe I was a bit harsh on this armor or the Unicron maybe he did actually look a bit better to someone else. You let me know what you think about this, because I haven't seen a lot of reviews on it on YouTube, so I'm really curious to hear you guys' opinion on this one. And so, as always, thanks for watching. Glad you could stick around if you've got through this far. That's really awesome. And don't forget to keep checking out videos, both on my old channel, i.e. Trains Extreme, and also on this new one, Extreme Chains. And so, as always, this is what I've got to say now. Thanks for watching. That's what we've got triumphs for from Extreme Trains.